This big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lied.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to a reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? We back. Happy Monday. Peace and blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Hey, look, I want to say thank you to everybody who was in the building tonight, from the panel to the people that are watching, that are in the comment section. Thank you all for being in attendance, bringing in this Monday evening, this brisk Monday evening, by the way. We got a lot to cover tonight. I got someone making their appearance on the show. This is not their first time up here. This is their first time officially on the actual panel and getting into this type of a format. So do me a solid. I want y'all to make sure you give them a warm welcome. I got Rob. I got Zay. I got Coach. I'm waiting on Sid. I don't know if she's pulling up or not. I'm going to keep her in my prayers and my thoughts. I know she had a lot going on this weekend. And I got a clip that I'm going to be playing here in a second. But what I want to do first is give my shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators, musicians, all that. I always give them their flowers. December 1st, mark the calendar. We're going to close out the way that we start this month. I'm going to bring everybody up. Quick intros. While we're doing that, I'm going to bring the clip up to the big screen. There she is. All right. The whole crew here. I got all right. Let's get this started. I'm gonna bring everybody up. We'll start with the ladies first. And then we'll go to Coach, and we go to Zay, we'll go to Rob. Intro, let the people know who y'all is, how they can reach out. And then we're gonna get into the show, man. Let me bring everybody up real quick. Hold on. Yo. Can all right, how we doing?
Hey guys. How was your Thanksgiving?
Mine's good. No complaints. No complaints. How was everybody else's?
That's good. It's nice to meet everybody. Hi, Sydney. Hi, Rob.
Hello.
I'm Kieran. So I just decided to hop on today to just to see how it goes and then go from there. But yeah, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet y'all.
Welcome.
Still eating leftovers. It's a good luck. Good life.
Hey, nice to meet everybody. Hope everybody had a good holiday, good weekend.
Okay.
Sure did. Thank you.
Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well.
Good, man. Good. I feel like I'm with the Avengers today. Let's grab them Infinity Stones, man. Get them together. You know what I'm saying? Salutes to Michelle Campbell. Salutes to Sophia. Salutes to Brooklyn. Salutes to Lightning. Appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. Tonight's topic is a quick clip. It's not very long. The guy goes through his lady's phone, and he discovers that she has a dark secret, and she kind of crashes out on him. So I want to bring this up on the big screen real quick, and we'll go around initial thoughts, and we'll go from there. Sound good? All right, let me
Get it.
get this up here real quick.
Out of here, bro. Yo, he's taking my shit, nigga. Out of here. What the fuck is wrong with you? Hey! You get out, bro! You out here taking my shit! Get off of me, bro. You want more? I saw you! Yo!
One more time.
Wrong with you? Get married. Get off of me, bro. Take it out of here, bro. Yo, he's taking my shit, nigga. Out of here. What the fuck is wrong with you?
All right. So, somebody had some secrets. Initial thoughts. First of all right, going through your partner's phone. Let's just start there. How do you feel about going through your partner's phone? Should you be allowed to go through your partner's phone? Is it a violation? Does that mean you don't have trust in the person? What are your initial thoughts overall? We'll start with, I don't know, let's start with Zay.
I don't know. I got some mixed feelings about that, to be honest. I feel like if you go through your partner's phone, you don't really got trust in that person. But sometimes I don't know. Like everyone got their own reason as to why they do things, but I do think that trust should be the foundation of a relationship. So if you don't trust your partner, how do you expect your relationship to grow? But then again, if there's signs, you gotta investigate. As you do with all things, you gotta investigate to find out the truth. So I guess it depends on the person, the relationship, how strong those foundations are.
Okay. See, what's on your mind? Miss Karen, how you feeling? How you feeling about this clip, or your privacy being invaded? Is it invasion of privacy to you? Do you agree that there's some things that should just be sacred and to yourself?
Okay, sorry, I was on mute. But I just want to piggyback off of like what Zay and Sydney already said. Like, I believe that cell phones are personal property, first of all. So like technically no one should be doing anything, but as far as like being in a relationship, I personally don't go through people's phones. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that I think about because I give somebody, I trust my partner. You know what I mean? So if I trust you, I have no reason to go through your phone. But if I start to feel like there is like if my intuition starts to act up, then I'm going to wonder what's happening, you know? And so at that point, if I ask you, hey, you know, it would make me feel a little bit better if I could just confirm that there's nothing happening, like, you know, in your Instagram DMs or something, or like in your, you know, regular text messages. If my intuition gets to that point, that's when I would be like, I would like to see it. And then I think that's very fair that if you, like, if your partner asks, you know, you should feel comfortable enough to give it to them, even, you know, just that one time, I guess is my point. You know, it's like, it's not like you do it all the time. If there's a concern, I think it's valid. Like if my partner right now were to be like, could I look through your phone? I'd be like, yeah, here, take it. I don't really care. You know, that's, yeah. Okay, so it looks like there's background noise.
Yeah, I think that I muted my mic to see if it canceled it out. I don't know how it sounds now. Coach Rob, y'all want to chime in before I go?
Man, I'll just say that young man in the video, I thought it was like Leroy from the Matrix. You see where he ducked that first move? The Tubi version. But no, what I would say is obviously there's an issue with communication because what we're looking at is the effect. And so there were many causes leading up to that, and everybody hit great points, you know, talking about the trust issues and all those things. But the I would say we have to learn how to communicate better. So within communicating better, you wouldn't get to the point where you're looking in somebody's phone and they're lunging themselves as if they're trying to tackle you from scoring a touchdown. So obviously look at the signs leading up to that prior, and then just focus on communicating.
That young man didn't listen to Trick Daddy. You ain't hear what he said. No disrespect, dog. You ain't had no business answering her phone. She want a thug, but now for real, on the real note, man, listen, I almost got myself killed over my phone too many times. It's dangerous. You gotta just, if if you're gonna be in a relationship, if you say you're gonna be monogamous, right about now, shoot, I might advise you to put a location finder on. If you saying you with that person and that's that, be with that person, because anything else, especially nowadays, is dangerous. And I'm glad that I had all my scandals for free. So if I ever get money and you start hearing all this stuff, I already told you I changed. But yeah, you gotta, if you gonna be monogamous, be transparent. Your phone is up for grabs. They should be able to look at whatever they want.
All right. So this is what I'm gonna say. I don't mind you having access to my device. I don't mind you having access to my passwords or any of that. But that's a conversation I'm going to have with you at the beginning of the dating, courting phase. At the very beginning. It's not going to take me a month or 3 and 4 weeks for us to finally establish boundaries. Why? Because we both have mutual objectives going into this. You see some value in me, and I see value in you that's worth giving this a shot. So, with that respect, everything has to stay at a specific level of balance at the beginning. Going forward, the minute you start to waver or doubt in the other person or in yourself, and you don't have those open, honest exchanges of thought, then that's where the problems come in. Now, if I never talk to you about your phone or my phone, and then I start getting suspicious that some stuff ain't right, I might as well not even be with you. Like I really believe like there's no point of being with a person if you don't trust them at all. Eliminate the problem at the beginning. Go ahead and ask the tough questions off the break. What's your credit score? How many times have you been to the clinic? Where's your paperwork? I want to know if you've ever had some bumps in spaces where might be kind of questionable. Do you have an incurable disease? Do you have a medical history? Are you bipolar? Do you have crazy? I'm gonna ask all that stuff off. At this point in 2025, you better not leave anything to chance. Go ahead and figure out if this person fits in your program or not. We talked about this kind of earlier. When you got one person that is operating on one spectrum and the other person is somewhere completely far left from you, is always going to end up a problem. So, did he violate? I think he violated. If you felt like something was going on with her, just leave. I'm not arguing with a fucking soul. I'm not about to sit here and pick your brain. I'm not about to play mental gymnastics trying to figure out if you going to get caught up in a lie. And I'm not about to go through the trash and your clothes. And I'm not doing all that. The minute you show me that there's a disconnect here, I'm out. Because what's the point of doing all of this back and forth with the person? You're wasting your time. And you're going to potentially put yourself in harm's way. You see how she crashed out. Whether or not you believe she's wrong or not, or you believe he's wrong or not, putting yourself in these type of situations is a no-no to me. I'm just gonna exit. I'm not about to deal with that. Period. I'll just leave before I entertain that. How you, Mike?
Okay, I'll jump in right there. So, you, you said you'll just leave. Again, I think there's a bunch of other things that we're probably missing. If you just leave, then that says you're not necessarily invested in the relationship. So when you say you'll just leave, you're not going to put up with that stuff. So you're saying you won't even try to have the conversation or not work through it, or what exactly do you mean by saying you'll just leave?
So, all right, this is how I look at it. You've been showing me signs that things ain't working for you no more, or you're creating this weird distance between us in a relationship, but you're not trying to communicate that with me. Even though you say, oh, we're more emotionally intelligent, and I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing is you are purposely doing things to push me out the door. Usually when a person is too scared to break it off with you, what they'll do is they'll sabotage the relationship. So they'll stop doing things that they did at the beginning. They'll get distant. Their routines change. Their attitude towards you changes. There's little patterns. If you really hip and keen to how your partner moves, you'll pick up on it quick. And I'm very perceptive. So if I see that you're doing things out of the ordinary, and I've been noticing it for a while, and I might have said something to you before, and you don't give me the response that I'm looking for. See, I already know in my head and in my heart that you want some funny stuff. I already know. I want you to be honest about it. You intimate with me. You've shared personal things with me that you don't with every single person in this world. You don't open your legs up to everybody. So if you're willing to give me your body and you're willing to give portions of yourself to me, why wouldn't you have the same level of respect and come to me and say, look, I'm not really happy. There are other things going on with me right now that is causing me to kind of stray. If you can't do that, then what's the point? But I just don't want my time wasted no more than it already is. And if you're not going to be honest with your partner, how much respect can you possibly have for him? If that answers your question.
No, yeah, absolutely. Anybody else got anything they want to chime in?
I don't, if you don't mind me jumping in on this from my perspective. So I am definitely, I agree with what he said. In the sense that from a woman's perspective, from my perspective, I'm not going to do the fight argument with anybody. I'm not doing that. So I will give you opportunities, to come forth and be truthful, right? I'll give you opportunities to do that. And at that point, then it's possible we could work through it. I'm not saying I would, but I'm saying that would be a possibility, right? I've given you plenty of chances to come forward, just be honest, and maybe we could work through it rather than I find out and now I've just removed myself for my own mental health. I'm not getting into that type of situation. I'm sorry. I'm a runner. I'll run. I don't care. Anyway, anybody
Can I
else?
ask you a question? Are you upfront with people when you meet them? Do you say, hey, I'm not really into problem solving. I'm a runner. Don't try to come to me with this shit that you're trying to solve something.
No.
So
So if we look at relationships, having a solid foundation from the very beginning and having those boundaries, listed and enforced there and saying, look, these are things that I'm not going to be okay with. You know what I mean? So if you've already like, with my mental health, I'm not physically going to do any, like I will have to remove myself. From a life and death standpoint, unfortunately, I'm not going to go against a man. I'm just going to remove myself.
How did you get to life and death with just starting
Because
disagreements?
because given the type of mental health issues that I actually have, I'm really not supposed to be putting myself in a very triggering situation, especially if I've already given you opportunities, multiple opportunities to say, hey, like this is what's happening. Why would I keep putting up with that? Like, I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean? Like I'm gone, sweetheart. There's other people out there who's not going to do that to me. Just my opinion, though.
We all mature now. You gotta like take it back probably, I don't know, for me, take it back a couple years ago, to where you have them act outs. I done acted out, I done had people acted out. And a lot of times when you don't know how to move in them situations, it'd be stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially where I'm from anyway. I grew up seeing it. I was on that side, so I can't act like I wasn't never on that side of the fence with the drama and all that. So that takes a lot of maturity to be able to just walk away. And from both of y'all talking, I can hear that y'all grew up. And I'm pretty sure on certain, at certain times, everybody on this panel probably had situations like that. The only thing about it now is that everybody got a phone. So again, this could be a situation where we don't know if that's tape, because somebody was taping that still. Because if you upset like that, that ain't something you would want nobody to put. So we got to find out what they you know what I'm saying? What was their motive behind it to go all out like that? But I think the only thing I know for a fact, the only thing saved me was that I ain't had this phone that I got in my hand right now, because I would have been in trouble.
Yeah, but is it the phone that'll get you in trouble, or is it the mindset? Because I mean, there's always been cameras, man. You might not have access to them. I mean,
It was cameras, but nothing that would have put me viral like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
no, I get the accessibility and self-incriminating, self-sabotage, and all that stuff. I understand.
Back in the days, I don't mean to cut you off. Back in the days, like if your people was there, they would have sat there and laughed at you. They wouldn't have put it on their camera. They'd be laughing, and if anything, they'll make sure me being a man didn't hit her or nothing, or didn't fight. They'll make sure that I walk away, and they'll laugh like, "Look at this dude, you always something," but nothing to where acting out like that and they like this in your face. And because if anything, especially back when we was young like that, I would have took your phone. Like you would have had to delete that. And you might have been stronger than me. You might have kicked my butt or whatever, but it would have been an effort to delete that before it goes anywhere to social media.
Last question, and I'll pass it to somebody else. Do you think we rely on talking about back in the days too much versus how people are living in 2025? Because when we were younger, we said that about our quote unquote older people, old heads, OGs, whatever you want to call them.
No, I don't think so, because that's, you know what I'm saying, that's how you don't repeat the same mistakes. So when you doing that, you gotta think where we came from, because back in the days they would have called around. Somebody would have called, yo, look, so and so was out here acting crazy, da da da. I wish you could have seen it. And they would have called 10, 20 people, and then those people would have called you. But now with that access, I think that's very relevant, because now they could just snap you up real quick, and then you know what I'm saying, just post you in a matter of minutes. And now you're around the world. Like instead of just around your hood, they're around the world now. If we picked it up right here, then you know that this is a big deal.
But it'll be an education piece, right? Lack of discipline from the older folks teaching it down to the younger folks.
All day.
Accountability piece on our behalf. No, I'm with you. Just asking.
Sid, let me ask you a question. Given the circumstances of the video, what would have been the best protocol for him to have handled that situation? I mean, he already was suspicious. I mean, so should he have gone about that differently?
First, before I answer that question, I did want to address something that was asked earlier of whether it's the cell phones or the mindset. And personally, I think it's both, because cell phones do affect your mindset. They've already found in psychological studies that cell phone use, especially compulsive or like excessive cell phone use, it disrupts your cognitive focus, it shortens your attention span, it promotes impulsive behavior. The task switching can reduce your attention span and make it harder to make to think about your decisions before you make them. And then there's also links to it impairing your memory, as I just said, your decision making, deep thinking. So the reliance on this technology does increase the chances that you're going to make a rash decision. And with the access to God knows how many dating sites and social platforms, and also just the aspect of comparison, because now you're exposed to your neighbors' relationships, your friends' relationships, your family's relationships. You see the intricate details of every person's life around you, even complete strangers. We see it on TV, everywhere. And if we having that comparison all around us, what is it? Happiness is the comparison is the thief of happiness, or however that quote goes. By having that all around us, it makes us question if our relationship is even good enough. And so a lot of people, I think, are affected by not only this decision-making issue, but also they have this comparison aspect all the time. And a lot of people, I think, end up shifting to, oh, my relationship's not good enough, so let me search around to see if I can find anything else. In respect to your question,
Hold on, Sam. Let me
neither of them handled it well. Obviously, she was literally full on attacking him. At least from my experience, full disclosure, I have bipolar disorder. I have had my own aggressive reactions just when I was in the middle of a manic episode. And my husband knows martial arts, self-defense, whatnot. So he's like, he could easily put me down if he wanted to. But whenever I'm in those states, he knows that all he does is back off. He tells me, like, either I need to leave or he's going to leave. He goes to a different space. Sometimes he goes on a walk. But he removes himself from the situation to keep us both safe, because he knows that he will reflexively act. And if I come after him, he could potentially hurt me. Now he doesn't do that, so he removes himself from the situation, so he isn't responding reactively. So I think in that case, it probably would have been better. I don't know what her behavior is typically, like if this is something normal for her, or if she was only reacting to the situation because of her emotional state. But I think he definitely should have removed himself from that situation. And I mean, maybe he was already, because it did look like he was walking out the door. It's kind of hard to tell from that video, though. But he definitely should have made an effort to remove himself from the situation until she had completely calmed herself down, and then approached the issue in a from the things that I've read before, and like how to have confrontations that might be emotional. Having them in public places can help, because people are less likely to react outwardly when they're in a public format. So like having lunch out to some like cafe or whatever, sometimes that can help. Having this conversation in the presence of a licensed professional or even a friend or family member that you trust that can be neutral, that can be kind of hard to find, but having a third party can also help. But he definitely, I think that confrontation could have happened at a later time when things were a bit more calmed down. But again, it is her behavior, so who knows if the location or a presence of another person would have actually done anything for him. Maybe she just kind of already has these issues, but it could have reduced the risk of that attack that she put on.
Go ahead, Coach. You wanted to ask her a question?
Nah, go ahead, Zay. Get in there. Add to the bill.
I mean, I also think that, it also depends on like the circumstance. Like some people just, they make key decisions. Sometimes like one altercation between your significant other might not, end as beneficial as you would hope. So you try to find that comfort in someone else. And sometimes that alone is detrimental because, you should be seeking comfort from your significant other, not from someone else, And like the lines get blurred every time you guys argue or you have a difference in opinions. Sometimes that situation itself might be their prerogative, if that makes sense.
All I know is this: if you do things in order at the beginning of it, you don't have to have this problem. If you've been honest and transparent about who you are and what you need out the other person and vice versa, then you don't have to do all of this scurrying around to figure out what is what. I don't think people are honest enough with each other no more. At all. Yeah. My thing is, I don't have the same tolerance levels anymore for this type of stuff. The minute I see red flags, I'm out the door. And the reason why I'm not going to argue or play detective is because you see how she is. You see how she reacted. I don't even think you can have a conversation with somebody like that. Because let's say he never went through a phone. Would she have ever confessed? Would he have ever known? She had a whole situation going on. She's about to get married, or she was married. Would she ever want to say that? Probably not. And then imagine trying to have a conversation with someone who literally just tried to jump on your back, and then she basically swung on him over a phone.
I feel like that's not the first time that she's done that. Like, that's too comfortable of behavior.
Exactly. There was a stream we did earlier. The woman took her guy was driving. He reached over to the driver's side, took the wheel, and then slung it, forcing them to crash. And then his reaction was calm. It was like this was a brand new car. Her reaction was pretty much so. She didn't have her seatbelt on. She was just like, "Oh well, can you just pull over here? And she didn't act like nothing was wrong with what she just did. You just put everybody's life in danger. Her attitude was very just nonchalant, very spoiled, and it made me have a flashback. There's certain like patterns and behaviors that people have that are just so alarming to me. It's like if you ignore them, then you could potentially be putting yourself at risk. We don't know how far it can go. And I've been in situations where you try to have a conversation with someone, hold them accountable, or you just say, look, I don't like this. This bothers me. And they respond with anger. They respond with gaslighting. They do everything in their power to reverse blame back on you. So you feel bad about having your own set of rules, and I don't approve of this. This doesn't make me feel good. So let's say, for argument's sake, he never confronted her about it. Would he still be dealing with someone who is about to get married? How do you confront somebody with those type of issues? Like, I don't even know if she has a disorder. I don't know if she's mentally this or that. But for you not to be able to control your emotions and your feelings, and you just get triggered like that to the point where you attack somebody over, I'm not attacking you over a phone. I'm not attacking you over the fact that you flirted with somebody. I'm not attacking you over the fact that you said something to me that I didn't like. They're just words. It's just a device. Your life ain't worth more to you than just that. Now, I personally would have just left. I wouldn't have just been doing the back and forth. I'm trying to figure out. I seen that you was texting somebody, and then you tried to cover up your phone and act like I ain't see it. Oh, who is this person that you got hidden under a false name? You got it under Target, but that's not really Target. That's Bob from around the corner. I'm not doing all that. So, let's stop wasting people's time in general. We too grown for that. Why are you holding secrets and being like that in the first place? You're an adult. You want to sleep around? You want to be in multiple partnerships? Okay, you can do that. Tell me. Give me the option to decide if I want to be a part of that or not. Don't just be up in my face acting like you're white as snow and whole time you got a whole football team waiting to pound and ground you, and nah. That's how people get hurt. I yield the mic.
I think also, and I'll try to keep it short, but it's having that self-awareness and self-love for yourself to know that when people are doing something that clearly is disrespectful to you as a person, I think it's okay to step away without an explanation, or actions just speak louder than words ever could. And it's like your actions just showed me who you are, and therefore my
Unmute. You muted, Kara.
am I muted this whole time? I'm sorry. Did you guys hear all of that or no? Okay. All right. So I was just saying
The
that
first 3 seconds we heard, the rest you muted.
I'm sorry. Okay. So I was just saying that there's a certain level of self-love and self-awareness that people have to have so that they're able to step away from situations that no longer serve them. So if someone's worked really hard to have this, level of self-love for themselves, if someone does something very disrespectful to you, you don't owe them anything. You know what I mean? You can just, I'm not saying run away from, like, whatever, don't run, but you can tell them, this is why I'm not, remaining in this relationship. And you've already, shown me your behaviors and patterns, right? So at that point, I think it's perfectly reasonable. I don't even know why these types of situations happen, like the craziness. I just think that's a lot of unhealed stuff, a lot of toxic stuff. People just don't have any control over their emotions, and they're not even good for each other. So it's like codependent relationships that people get into. And that's where that's where like the most fighting is when you have two toxic people coming together. And yeah, that's it.
Again, we speaking from a mature perspective now, and that's nice. That seems like everybody on this panel grew up. Like I ain't supposed to tell people where I'm from, but I'm gonna tell them for the rest of my life. I'm from the hood. I done seen couples where one shot the other. I done seen couples where one stabbed the other. They still together. I done seen where they come back to back. No matter what, you cannot separate them. Police involved and all that. They be right back tomorrow. They call you to the point where they tell you, man, I hate that person. I can't stand them. They trash, da 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 da. And then the next day, like, where were you? I was with them. You was with them. I thought you said, oh, mind your business. You don't know nothing. Da 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 da. So at this point, you could be raised right and still have problems controlling your impulses in a situation like that, because people's feelings be hurt and words hurt. And again, that phone carries so much energy to it, to where once a person see that, it's like up from there. So it's a situation where you gotta hope that people mature, because like I'm with y'all, I'm with all y'all. But deep, what you said, people could get hurt, especially right now, to where I think it's the same. But again, like Sydney said, with that cell phone and all of that, and the social media, people was even quicker now to fly off the handle than, you know what I'm saying? And they could have staged it. If they staged it, that was perfect, the way she flipped over and all that. But at the end of the day, when you hurt a lot of times, you're gonna respond. And it don't be the best response. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't have known about it if they ain't had them cameras, but I'm sure at a certain point, everybody went through something similar. You may not even acted like that. You may have went behind closed doors and cried over a person that was a piece of garbage that didn't care, but you cared. And you took it out in a way you might, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like we just gotta pray for what I guess they call it, like wisdom and the ability to react peacefully in situations like that when your buttons is pushed. And then definitely for the younger folk, like you said, Coach, you gotta tell them, like, listen, I don't know which way you tell them, but it's more fish in the ocean, or sometimes the people we love hurt us or whatever. You got to teach them that so that they're not crashing out, because that was light compared to what we know, especially now on social media too, what they be showing on them posts. Like I seen one dude, it appeared that he unalived himself in the building because the girl left him. You know what I'm saying? In that case, I'd rather have this case right here than that. But again, we say what we do, but you don't never know necessarily either until you've been in that situation. Or a lot of times, if you reacting to where you'll walk away, it's because you've been in that situation before, and you're not going to put yourself in that situation no more.
So you think it's impossible to bring your kids up to be able to protect themselves from that? Like, you can't stop them from falling in love with people. You can't stop them from being sneaky and having relationships and all that, but you can tell them the real truth. You can say, hey, look, this is reality right here. He's a hoe. She's probably going to be one too. They're going to come to you, look like they got the whole package, but in all honesty, they're probably going to backstab you. They're probably going to be liars. They're probably going to be manipulative. But all of them are not like that. You're going to have to be able to identify certain characteristics here. I can show you some of this stuff. You're not going to receive it all. Only experience is going to teach you that. But at least I'm giving you something to work with. You don't think that might kind of help a little bit? Or is it just trial by fire?
Comes down to what Karen said, self-love. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut y'all off. It's self-love, and you could teach them how to separate from situations where they're not being valued or where they're being lied to. That all comes from self-worth. When you're able to love yourself, when you're able to be alone and be happy in your own skin, when you're able to keep your standards high and don't sacrifice them for anybody and don't settle until you find somebody that's of equal value and they showed you with action, you might, like I said, you might respond like that for a little while, but once you learn that self-love, then a lot of times you're able to separate from stuff like that.
Just coming from personal experience, I know that in the past, part of the reason why I had a lot of my rage issues was I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to talk to people effectively. I didn't know how to express my emotions. And oftentimes I responded reflexively without understanding the emotions that I was actually experiencing. And so I was kind of out of sorts because I was trying to react in a way that I thought was making sense to me, but it didn't actually reflect what I was feeling inside. And it was kind of mismanaged emotions as well as misunderstood emotions. And so that is something, obviously it doesn't come innate in people. It's something that has to be learned, just like Chef said. Kids learn these behaviors, they pick them up from their parents, they act the way that they see. And so to a degree, you're unconsciously going to pass down some of these things to your kids without even recognizing that you have done it until the kids are older, and then you kind of see them exhibit that behavior. But parents also have the capacity to change the path of their kids by teaching them certain skills that decrease their likelihood of developing problematic behaviors in the future. One of the big things that you can teach your kids is how to express your behavior properly, to show them that you don't have to have an outsized reaction to get what you want from situations. There are ways to navigate situations without expressing giant emotions, and also teach them ways to handle giant emotions, because obviously we're all going to experience really stressful time periods. But there are ways that you can mitigate the stress, reduce the stress, so it's not coming out in your relationships. You can also teach your kids how to properly handle situations where emotions are involved, teaching them to walk away, obviously teaching them that it's not appropriate to put your hands on somebody just because you're upset about something. There's a lot of behaviors that you can reinforce or discourage before the child reaches the age that they're actually going to have relationships with other people, or like romantic relationships with other people. So there's definitely a lot of ways that the parents can pave the way for their child to have a respectful relationship, have a relationship with their partner that is healthy. However, as I think Mel said it, you can't obviously pick their partner for them. You can't choose their relationship for them. So unfortunately, sometimes people feed off each other. Sometimes there are underlying issues related to your emotions, your hormones, whatever, that can affect how you react to situations. So you can't control everything, but you can still build a foundation for them so they are more likely to make better choices when they are finally in those situations when they're older.
Coach, let me ask you a question. You have a one-on-one consultation with that gentleman specifically, and he comes to you and he says, I suspect that my old lady is stepping out on me. I don't know how I should proceed with handling this situation. And this can go for you. I mean, anybody answer, but I just want to pick your brain for a second. What do you say to him? He's like literally a day away from actually confronting her. That's getting the time machine. This scenario is about to happen, but he comes to you first. What's that conversation?
It starts with, tell me about it. What's on your mind? How did you get to this conclusion? What do you think you missed leading up to this point? Now that you shared those experiences, how does it make you feel? Now that you told me how it makes you feel, what do you want to do with those emotions? What's the result? What outcome are you looking for? What do you think she's going to do? How do you think she's going to feel if you do what you just told me you wanted to do? How do you think that's going to rectify the situation? Oh, shit. Do you even want to rectify the situation? What is your desired outcome? What made you think about going left instead of going right? How do you think you contributed to this situation? Did you start with accountability to think that you might have possibly pushed or made this person uncomfortable? What did you do to contribute? Because you met her, she was married. Did you lead her on to think that she could probably do something? Did you miss some signs along the way where she might have gave you some subtle hints? Did you try to save her when she looked like she needed somebody to save her and you purposely missed the signs? It's completely up to you, whoever's on the other end of that seat, and how you answer those questions. But definitely there will be a lot of probing, a lot of insight, and then I will hope it will be a lot of reflection. And then it would ultimately be up to that individual to say what you want to do after we go over your answers, right? Because this is probably something you would want to talk to somebody about, but you couldn't get it off your chest or you didn't know how to start the conversation. So again, like I always say, the person that has the questions controls the conversation. So you can control which direction you want to go to by asking those specific questions. And I would teach that person, hey, look, if you said you want to continue to have a positive outcome with this person, maybe zig instead of zagging. Maybe ask this instead of demanding that. Maybe, have you ever listened? Have you ever asked more than one or two questions? Do you typically explode? You have triggers? Did you tell her your triggers? So, I mean, again, it's just about establishing a relationship. So it just depends on what type of relationship you want to have. And then I would probably just try to, coach them along that path. And then, because like each one of you has said, everybody makes, not everybody, but people they respond and they inject emotion into their responses. Not everybody has a logical response when they do things. Not everybody actually think things through. When fight or flight kick in, because quite a few people on the panel has described fight or flight, a lot of people will take the flight versus the fight, because the real question will be, at what point did you realize this relationship didn't have enough value to put the fight into it? And why the heck are you still here? If you identified it wasn't worth fighting for, why is your ass still here? That would be, you understand what I'm saying? So again, it goes back to accountability, not pointing the fingers at other people and saying, I would do this because I'm cutting you off here and I'm cutting you off there. Well, if you were going to cut somebody off, why didn't you do it sooner? Because you already saw the signs. You made a conscious decision not to execute. So again, it goes back to you pointing the finger back at you and asking those questions. So you can not be a problem solver, and you can keep running from situation to situation or relationship to relationship. But at some point, if it follows you, like a couple of you already said, then you have to stop, hunker down, and figure out, why is this happening? It feels good to leave it, but it feels even better once you resolve it and you don't have to worry about that shit anymore. That's why they call it baggage. You can't take baggage from one relationship to the next and then not think it's going to catch up with you. Like we talked about earlier, you won't buy a car without getting the Carfax. How are you getting in relationships without getting the history of what's going on with these people? And that's, again, what Rob alluded to, the social media area, the lack of the conversation, the instant gratification. Did you have these conversations with her? Did she share these things? You didn't? Okay, there's no problem. When you get to your next relationship, these are experiences that you're learning. And then you don't say you're going to cut somebody off. You can't penalize somebody in a current relationship for some shit somebody else did to you in the last relationship. They don't know them people. They didn't do what that person did to you.
Is that a red flag or what?
I'm gonna pause. I'm about to wrap it up. Let me land the plane.
No, I'm sorry.
So no worries. So again, these are the things that, and it's not a personal attack. We're just having a conversation. So these are the things you have to take in totality into consideration when you're having a conversation or when you meet somebody. And if you didn't have these conversations and you didn't talk about the past, the triggers, and all these things, and you want people to meet you where you are, then you disregarded the whole complete past of somebody's life and your life. And if you're going to meet with somebody, you should be having those kind of conversations. Over you.
Thank you. No, I apologize for cutting you off, but I actually I agree I see where you're coming from, right? Like that makes a lot of sense with what you said, but I think there's also nuances to a lot of situations, and also I feel like discernment plays a role in behaviors too, and like what your reaction is going to be. So if you've been in relationships and you've already, can tell red flags, if you're seeing it in the next relationship, it doesn't always happen like right away. It might take more than 3 months or 6 months to for people to show their true colors. But I think that it's perfectly fine to try and find a resolution for that. Go ahead.
Just to engage in a conversation to go back and forth. If you say you see something, are you saying something? Or are you seeing something and letting it build up to eventually hit your threshold where I don't want to deal with it anymore? I'm not saying you personally. I'm just saying in a relationship, just like it would be at work, you're working with customer service or anything else, you see something, oh, excuse me, allow me to give you some feedback. I don't like that. Or I don't like this. But if you just allow it to build up and you hit a pressure point, I can't take this shit anymore. Well, I'm sorry. When was the first time you told me so we could have worked through this problem? So what we hear so much, and again, it's not personal. I'm not pointing any. I'm just saying, as a culture and a community, it's all about this cutoff culture. And then I'm gonna be the first one not to deal with this shit anymore. Where are we? Again, the problem solving and identifying a problem. Raise your hand. Hey, look, I got an issue with that. Oh shit, my bad. I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? We're in 2025. People dating outside. They're racist more than ever. People are different demographics, ethnicity wise, financially wise, educational wise. Some people now have more degrees than other people. There's so many sliders that we put on a bar that we have to make sure that we're updating people and staying consistent with what's going on. I'm sorry, not to go too long. Go ahead.
No. And I absolutely agree. And that's where I think that having those conversations when things come up is incredibly important so that they don't build up. The old me would have let things build up until I'm crashing out. My only issue that I have is when we get into domestic violence issues and where women statistically die a lot in marriages, right? Due to domestic violence, due to like unstable anger. So it's like you can't really necessarily get mad at everybody for choosing to leave a certain way, you know, if they find a way out. Over you see what I mean? Like I think there's nuances.
Absolutely, I agree with you, but I'm going to say there goes a lack of education piece, and there goes, and I'm not saying you personally. I'm saying when we're educating the community, and then having accountability partners, having coaches, having therapists, having best friends, having somebody to talk to share these things, and you're not getting to the domestic violence part. Again, if somebody slaps you, or a woman slaps a man, or if it's not physically, but it's verbal abuse, which is just as equally as bad because you can't see it. It's mentally scarred, and then now you're walking around feeling a certain way, and people may or may not believe how you feel, man or woman, suffering from narcissistic abuse, any kind of abuse, right?
Mhm.
But again, the first step in any program is identifying the problem. So at what point are we identifying the problem, and at what point are we pushing past it, saying, you know what, I'm going to deal with it. You know what, I've been through worse. You know what, I'm a bad bitch. You know what, whatever the case may be, what point are we stopping and identifying and saying, hey, this is a problem? Or our friends holding us accountable, or you don't want to be held accountable because you think somebody's always criticizing you or giving you feedback that you don't like. I'm not saying you personally, I'm just saying us as a people. Because what happens is people give you feedback. People will say that person's not good for you. People will say you need to wake up. That's not a good situation or a relationship. And then what do we do with the information at that point? Is what I'll ask. Because there's everybody's on the panel has said, red flags, red flags, red flags. How many freaking flags do you need before you pivot, pause, and go a different direction? You know what I mean? Because it's not just females, it's also males that are out there getting abused. Men are out there suffering in silence every freaking day, and some dumbass man is telling him, suck it up and move on. You're a pussy. You can do this. You can do that. Men are being abused every freaking day. And they just pass over to say, you know what? I'm going to be the breadwinner, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. So again, it's about a communication and an education piece. And I think people need to be more open across the board to just sharing and having conversations with people. I yield the mic.
No, I pretty much I agree with a lot of what you said. It goes to an accountability issue. I think where I was coming from is more so there are nuances. What happens if you bring up issues to somebody and they're literally a narcissist and they don't believe that there's anything wrong, right? Like, what do you do at that point? When you're telling somebody, hey, this is the problem, and like they decide that they're not going to do anything about it, why was it a big deal if I leave at that point? You know, like
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And just to make sure things aren't getting lost in translation, it's not a big deal. Again, I think the what might have got lost is the buildup before you get to that point. Because like you said, identifying a problem, just like anything else, you know, if you go to work and you don't like the job, you give them a 2-week notice. You figure it out, you find a job, you know what I'm saying? You're finding it out. You got to figure out a way to get out of there, because most people that are suffering underneath that abuse don't realize it until it's too late.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, and then that's why it goes about, again, having, you know, people say all the time, it takes a village to raise people. So you got to have, again, that's why it's important to have people around you with good heads on their shoulders and are looking to do things and going into the right direction. Because if you're surrounded by a bunch of people that envy you, you're probably in the wrong room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong freaking room. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, then how are you going to see that coming? If you're in another room, people who've been through situations, they have said experience, those will probably be the ones saying, hey, you need to look out for this. Hey, I kind of see you going through this situation. And then again, if you're not paying attention, it's all about education. We keep learning. It's continuous learning every day. You go to work, they gave you CEUs, continuing education units. Everywhere you go, they tell you to continuously learn. The places where we don't do it is in our own homes. I yield the mic.
Yeah, I think we kind of went a little off the path a bit. I'm not mad at it, but I'm a firm believer in discernment, a huge believer in it. It shouldn't take a lot of red flags to identify that, oh, this might not be good for me. Let me detour and go in another direction. I hate that it took me 15, 20 plus years to hone that stuff, but I'm here now. And there are definitely ways to deal with narcissists. There are ways to deal with liars. There are ways to deal with combative people. I think there's a solution for all of it. There's not an ending that doesn't have to result in something extremely negative. You learn about their friends. You learn about their family. You learn about their personality. You learn about how they communicate. I can't speak for everybody. I can figure out within a short amount of time whether or not this person has the best intentions or not. The guy, he has a history of dealing with a specific type of woman, just like the same dude from earlier. This ain't a cultural thing. This is universal on all spectrums. It don't matter what color you are. If you grew up a certain way, you're going to probably have these type of characteristics. Don't know how they met. I don't know if he inserted himself where he shouldn't have, and she had her own life going on before him. I don't know if she was already engaged and she met him. I don't know all that. What I'm saying is the dude, he felt some type of way. He instead of like, all right, how can I say this? If you know a person got a bad temper, you got to handle that differently. If you know a person has an ego, you got to handle that differently. If you know a person does not know how to have the type of conversations that you want them to have, you're going to have to handle it a different way. Every approach has to be custom to that particular person. I can reach out to all of you and I'm going to still be me, but I know how everybody kind of communicates. So it's not weird or nothing like that. People don't take the time anymore to figure out who these people are that they laying down with. Y'all just be wanting instant gratification. It just be about lust and resources, what you can get out the person for that particular moment in time. You'll sacrifice your friendships, your family. You'll throw away lifelong friendships, all that stuff for a person, and you don't even really want them for real. What I don't like about this, it could have gone completely left. You brought up domestic abuse. He could have crashed out on her. She didn't. He could have found out and pew-pewed her. Just all for the fact that, yeah. How many stories have we seen? Rob said it, and I've done covered dozens of them. You got. I don't look. You grown. You're going to get your heart broken. You might get a little embarrassment. Things might not go the way you want them to. Suck it up. Everybody done went through it. Get rid of them. Work on yourself. Go in hermit mode. Read some books. Heal. Get away from negative and demonic people who got bad juju on them. that don't know how to really talk to you about what's going on because they are here and you are here. Reset and start over, rebuild. Period. Zay, let me ask you something, because you ain't you. I want to give you a chance to get your bars off, man. What do you do in this situation? Let's say this is you. You found out your spouse is engaged or married. Who do you blame? Who's at fault here for the way that the relationship went?
Honestly, me personally, I would blame myself because I should have caught it. You know, like on the first day, I should have caught it. Like that's me personally, though. But other people that might have missed the signs. I've been in a situation, not in that particular one, but I've been in something similar to that. She wasn't married, but it was similar to that. But you know, you missed the signs because you really wanted to work out. But then you realize the signs were always there. And then you wake up and you know, me personally, I would just leave. You know, I wouldn't even give her the chance to explain. I would just leave, to be honest, because no matter what excuse or statement that person might have want to say as a moment, it's just an excuse. You are married, so why am I messing with you? You are married. Yeah, it might look like a waste of time. You know, investigating that person, loving that person, putting your all into that person, but now you know. So I'm just gonna leave.
Ladies, I got a question for y'all. I know we're getting ready to wrap up because we kind of we spent a lot of time on the guy and how he responded and how he was supposed to respond at least, but we didn't really hold her accountable, right? What do you think about how she handled this whole situation? Like from the minute that she started dealing with him up until this altercation right here. How do you feel about how she moved within this relationship in general, overall, and does it affect the perception that men will ultimately have on women in general?
Sydney, do you want to go first? I don't want to.
You can go first.
I would definitely think that I don't think what she did was appropriate at all. First of all, like she has to take the accountability there more than he does, right? Like if she was married, first of all, she's the cheater, right? And so if he's getting involved in that, that's not his fault, right? If he doesn't know, that's not his fault at all. And her getting mad and having the reaction that she has shows me that she has like anger issues and unresolved stuff going on to where she can't express herself in an adult fashion, right? I don't know. I don't agree with her behavior. And she has no right to get mad because she's the one who was cheating in the first place. She has a whole marriage, right? And like this guy probably had no idea coming into that, and now he's stuck. I mean, I think he had every right to just step away. He doesn't owe any. I'm just saying, I don't think he owes anybody an explanation because he got stuck in something he didn't ask for.
Yeah, good point.
Can you just re-quote the question just so I can reformulate my response?
So the question is, how do you feel about how she handled this relationship? And does it give a negative perspective on women based on her actions? Like, you see stories like this all the time. You know, I cover them a lot, where you see women in these type of situations. You'll hear from a man, and like, we'll sit up here and talk about it, and if we talk about it, it comes off as misogynistic, or it comes off as if we're bashing. But the video footage is showing you something else. On your in your perspective, what does this look like to you? How do you feel about the way she moved with this, and just overall how it's going to be portrayed by anyone who is out here looking for a relationship in the future?
For one, she definitely did not handle the situation well at all. Anyone who feels the need to attack somebody, especially if you're the one that's perpetrating the initial issue, says a lot. But I do think that I unfortunately think that this does align with the misconceptions people have about women, where women are emotionally uncontrollable and they don't know how to handle relationships, and they're just like excessively aggressive or whatever. And then also the aspect of her somehow maintaining a relationship, two relationships at the same time, being with a married person and being in a relationship with somebody else. I think that also contributes to the aspect of women being cheaters as well. So I think it does contribute to this negative image that women typically have in society. But unfortunately, it isn't. It's not like this is just a misinterpretation of the situation. She definitely is portraying behaviors that are wildly unacceptable. However, given the way that society reacts to things, how the internet reacts to things, I think it would definitely perpetuate the myth that all women are like this. All women can't have a relationship. That it's not even worth getting in a relationship with a woman because she's just going to do you dirty and she wants you and whatnot. So unfortunately, while it's not directly her fault, it's definitely an addition to the type of atmosphere that exists on the internet, and people's people have this like all or nothing type of attitude towards things, where if they see just a few examples, because of how the brain works, they're automatically going to think, well, if that's what I've seen, that's what's going to always happen, which is not the case. Obviously, like, not everyone is a cheater. Not everyone is going to be aggressively violent in situations. But as I said, because of the way that the brain works, we're kind of conditioned to believe what we see. And if this is the type of stuff that you're seeing on the internet, you're going to apply that to your knowledge of the outside world. So unfortunately, even though I don't think it should be a reflection of who women are in relationships, because women can be immensely loyal, can be wonderful partners, can be incredibly emotionally intact and controlled. Like, they can control their own emotions. I think that a lot of people on the internet would not take it that way and would apply a lot of these stereotypes that she is showing to other people.
Any final words from anybody on the panel before we close out? Rob, Zay, Coach.
I get in there. So I'm a product of a million chances, and I'm thankful for each one of them. And I believe that I had to learn the hard way. First, I had to learn how to forgive. I had to learn how to forgive myself, and then also hold myself accountable when I was wrong. And then I had to learn that any kind of apology or whatever second chance has to come with change behavior. That's going to be the ultimate sign of if that person wants to be with you or not. Again, it's hard to, it's kind of like I look at it kind of like preaching, where they'll take like one little verse and preach on it for like an hour and a half, which I don't mind because that's the culture. But at the same time, it's hard to assess each situation when you're looking at it for like 2 minutes. But I would think that first, everything y'all said, nowadays, especially for the young people, you got to learn people's backgrounds, learn how they react, learn who they are, learn who their families are, their history, what is their relationship history. You got to learn everything, especially nowadays. And anytime a situation when it becomes disrespectful and abusive, with Karen, you have to, even if maybe you meet years later down the line, and maybe it was meant to be or whatever, at that point when it becomes you're being humiliated, you're being embarrassed, and that person is not changing, then you must separate for your mental health. So I'm like you, Deep, a lot of time. Now that I know what I know, 20, 30 years later, you gotta be ready to first learn these people and then be ready to make adjustments when you find out how they really are.
Hey, well said, Rob. Man, that was well said. I'll keep it brief. One of the things we got to do is we have to be careful in a culture where everything is about these cell phones. It is about instant gratification. I'm not telling anybody how to live, but if we don't teach people how to communicate and we don't empower and stop enabling some of the things that's going on, a lot of it is because of lack of education. The one thing everybody said on the panel was how much experience we have had, good, bad, or indifferent. So think about the amount of experience that you have, and each one teach one. Remember, one thing we always heard growing up, it took a village to raise people. It's no longer about villages if we're cutting everybody off. So I would just say, obviously, protect your mental health. Make sure you take care of yourself first. But if you don't have the capacity or the bandwidth to teach, have the empathy to refer. Know a good resource. Protect yourself, absolutely. But also refer somebody to somebody who can maybe better equipped to take care of that. Like the old saying goes, have more than one tool in the toolbox. So be a problem solver and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Can I also say something real quick? I just want to say that there are a lot of toxic people out there, and there are a lot of people that are proud to be toxic nowadays. So I just want to say that you gotta stop the toxicity. It's draining to your mentals, and it goes hand in hand with what Coach said. It's draining to your mentals, and it really think about what you're doing before you do it. It's as simple as that. Stop trying to hurt someone just because you can. Literally, think about the person before you make an action and do it. That's all I gotta say for tonight.
We too grown, way too grown to still be out here playing around with people. You post on Instagram and Twitter, y'all talk about how adult you are, but then when it comes down to actually being held accountable and responsible for not only your actions, but for the future that you create with the decisions that you make, you're nowhere to be found. That has to stop. Act your age. Just act your age. Period. You want to be out here in the street. Be out here in the street with the people who want to be out there in the street. Stay away from everybody else who trying to get this stuff in order. They ain't got time for it. Then we going into a new year. I don't know about you. I ain't got the energy for it. Put your feelings in check. Just put them in check. It's not the end of the world. You can't blame nobody for the position that you get yourself in. Make better decisions and choices. Stop thinking with your lower region. Start looking at things a little more practical. It's not about aesthetics all the time. You need to figure out what type of soul this person got, what type of personality this person got. What direction are they moving in? Are they on a chaotic one, or are they on an abundant one? Are they pouring into you, or are they taking from you? If you got to go through a person's phone, they ain't for you. I want to say thank you to everybody who pulled up tonight. Salutes to Karen. I thank you for taking time out of your day to be here with us. Rob, Coach, Sid, Zay, appreciate y'all. Chef, you the MVP in the comment section today, sir. I appreciate you, brother. You've been holding it down, man. I've been following along. I don't feed the trolls. But blessings to everybody. Much love. We out for the night. Matter of fact, anybody got anything they want to plug before we go?
Yo, you know I always got it. I'm always, man, listen, man. I'm gonna make $1 billion. I'm putting the product out. I am International Rob. I'm a teacher by day. At night, I rap. All my songs ain't good, but I got a few good songs. I need y'all to go get Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Amazon Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube Music. Go get my good songs, the ones you like, not the ones I'm telling you to get. And spend them. I don't have $400,000 to get these people to play my music. And I sell bundles too, hair weave extensions, natural name 1B. You call, I deliver. Serious inquiries only.
Real spill. Look, man, we up out of here, man. We spinning back tomorrow. Tap in, hit that button, and yeah, we out.